I am all ears. The Ghost Fancast.
Shall we dive in? So
Let's actually talk about it.
let's talk about it now that we can. I can't believe we actually. I never
Yeah.
thought this day would come. I'm just saying.
I guess I'm listening to it and I'm still like, this isn't real, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
so strange.
Just one more thing I want to say right before we get into it. Just a
Yeah.
quick thing. Again, if something comes out and Tobias like goes on record and says like he's not comfortable with any of this, we will respect his wishes and we will we will apologize to anybody that was like quote unquote right about this.
I will,
Yeah.
but
Like
I'll apologize to
if that
Tobias.
happens,
Everyone else.
if that happens, we will be respectful of it. But until then, I don't believe anybody who says that he didn't want anyone to hear this ever
Mm,
and that he's uncomfortable with it.
yeah.
Until I hear it from him, I don't believe anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
until it comes from him, it seems like it's just
It's a you problem.
yeah.
And
Like,
judging
it's
from the past, he won't say anything about it. So
I told someone, he was like someone's gonna tell him this going on. He's like, huh? What? Did
Passy
it
what?
get released on that radio again?
he's still with his hands in his head in his hands, going, I don't really care about that right now. I still don't know what Papa 5 looks like. Please go away. And I'm
What's
50
going
odd
on?
days out from the tour. Please go away. My drums aren't finished yet.
So, Passiflora. So this title. Why do we think he chose this title? Because I was like looking at I was trying to see like the symbolism of like passion flowers and Passiflora,
Yeah.
and like there's it's very. I've got a load of tea that's got it in. It's supposed to be good for sleep and anxiety, which, given what he's gone through on this album,
Yeah.
is probably needed. But also, there's an interesting thing where it's like to do with the suffering of Christ. I'm
That's
not going
probably
to go
what it
into
means.
probably like you can Google that. I'm not going to go into it too much, but I just found it funny because it's like, who suffered more, me or Jesus?
Well, it kind of it falls in line with it falls in line with his like his enjoyment of using religious imagery for things. Like
Mm.
it's in all of his work. It kind of obviously the most famous one is the one that's just the mock Pope, but you know what I mean? Because if you just did a quick Google, just because it says like the passion flower, passiflora symbolizes the suffering and resurrection of Jesus Christ. The petals and sepals represent the 10 apostles, excluding Judas and Peter, because fuck them. The corona represents the crown of thorns. Stigmas represent the nails used in the crucifixion. The anthers represent the 5 wounds. Tendrils represent the whips used to flagellate Jesus. The ovary represents the Holy Grail. The color blue and white represent heaven and purity. And the number of days the flower opens, which is 3 days, represents Jesus' 3 years of misery.
Mm.
So like I could see him using it for the religious reasons, but also it's just a nice flower.
Yeah. Talking about symbolism as well. If we go on to the album artwork,
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck is going on here, but I was trying to we'll get onto later like a certain Greek mythology tie that we have, but keeping within that sort of idea of Greek mythology, there it looks almost like as if there's this angel that's like either guiding someone. At first, I thought it was into some sort of underworld because, again, there's a theory
Yeah.
on that later on. But then also, I found this interesting part of Greek mythology, which is about ignore my pronunciation, Chelion,
Yeah.
who was basically she didn't want to leave her house after to go to Zeus's wedding, and Hermes kind of came down and turned her into a turtle or a tortoise,
Yeah.
turtle, and into a river. And there's, if you look on the album artwork, you can see this woman who's sort of gripping onto a turtle. And there's this interesting coin that is done by this artist whose name escapes me right now, but I've got it up on here, and it looks very similar to Passiflora, where you've kind of got like Hermes kind of transforming her into this turtle, and there's these like reeds which almost look like the same sort of reeds on the album, which isn't a Passiflora, it's a lotus.
Yeah.
But I took to Twitter on this about like a couple of theories, and everyone had like a bunch of other theories, and then it turns out someone called Sol or Sol. I don't know how you say it. Sorry. Lucifer and Lucia, but the L is an I, is their handle. And they actually reached out to Claudio Marino, who was the artist, for a bit of insight on this. And he basically got back and says, "Hey, I don't really remember. I know the cover was from an old painting. That's all I remember." Assuming it's one of his paintings, and I don't think he means like a sourced one, because I think he's got a very similar style when you look back at all of his work.
It could be based on a painting. Because he
I've been
like
looking,
again,
you know,
Tobias likes doing that.
yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
Yeah.
But given the thematics of the album, might have to circle back to this because like it makes sense in context.
Yeah.
Um, like it's kind of like being pushed underwater and like drowning, and
It, the
obviously there's a
way
lot of feelings of that on this album.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the way I was looking at it because when I first saw the album cover, I didn't because it's one of like because I thought I'd never hear this album. I didn't really pay attention to a lot
No,
of it,
me
so I
neither.
didn't see the turtle, didn't know it was water, didn't know like couldn't see any of this. But like because one of the songs, especially near the end of the album, I kind of was looking at it as like could it be Tobias like drowning the old version of himself?
Maybe.
Like there is a lot of like especially at the back end of the album there's a lot of kind of like realization of having to move on like
Mm.
change and things like that there, so like maybe it's him, realizing he has to let go of the little stinker that he was to be normal in air quotes,
Mm.
to have I have to because like if you look at him as well at this time whenever he was doing when he was making this kind of music and he was playing live and stuff, he looked like a youth pastor.
Yeah.
Like he was dressed very normally. He had like short dark hair and he had the black shirt and jeans and stuff. But he just looked very normal. And, like, and then compare it to like the way he was in Repugnant, where he's like covered in blood and he's got his morbid T-shirt on, and and things like that there. So I kind of felt like it was him trying to have to like, cause especially like the song Mary Says.
Mm.
It's very much him having like feeling like he has to let go of who he was to try and maybe be like who he thinks what he should do is let go of who he is and be this normal version of himself.
Ironically, I can't remember what song it's in, and I'm sure we'll get to it once I come across it when I
Yeah.
scroll through my notes. There is a part of a song which implies almost like he one of these potential women. I'm assuming it's one of the potential women and not his current wife, but
Yeah.
almost it sounded like he had to choose between her and do music at one point. But we'll get onto that. Shall
Yeah.
we dive in?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
So first up we have The Breeze. Now, I just want to point out with all these songs, this is all a collection of interpretations because some of it is a little bit hard to fully hear what he's saying. So I've wrote down a couple of variations that I've seen around, um because obviously it changes the context of things depending on which version it is, so we can discuss those.
Mm.
Um Now, The Breeze is one of the ones I was so excited to hear because obviously, like I said, we had that live version, and I've been banging on for years saying this is the one I want a studio version of, and it did not disappoint. Having said that, there is literally from the get go on the first line, I'm unsure what the correct lyric is because again, it changes the context. So a couple of variations I've heard people mention are I was born I was born to receive when you kissed me. I was born to deceive when you kissed me. I was born on this eve when you kissed me. I was pulled from the sea when you kissed me. So depending on the context, um,
Yeah.
is it like a rebirth thing when he finally kisses this woman? Because it's like the next line is and suddenly fate intervened. So it almost sounds like he wasn't having a great time and then suddenly he met this woman and now he's a changed man. And then he goes on to maybe I'll die on the day when you leave me, but I live now in the time in between. So it's almost like he's scared that she's going to leave, but he's kind of ignoring it.
Yeah, he's just like right now I'm super happy.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna write a very depressing song about it though. it's,
Uh,
it's that Ron Weasley thing. You're gonna be sad, but you're gonna be happy about it.
and again, he's got like even though you're sleeping here tonight, comes tomorrow when you go, and this is a questionable lyric interpretation, leaving scars in my sheets, body shapes, damage done. So it's almost like that constant reminder of like she's there when she's gone. But then contradictory, the next line where it's like, now all the sad songs I used to sing don't sound as sad as before, and all the bad things that I used to think, I don't think so anymore. And it's like, he found happiness. Pick a lane. Are you sad? Are you happy? What? I'm confused. God knows
It's
how you feel.
it's like Hosier. You know what I mean? Like if you listen to Hosier's music, like Hosier writes a lot of love songs, and you're like, you sound in so much pain while singing this. You know, like, and I think that's kind of what it is. Again, like it's one of those kind of songs where it's like, it's like almost like it kind of the way I looked at it is like he's almost in disbelief, if that makes sense, that he's found this person. You know, like, and it's one of those things like where he doesn't want to think it's gonna last, but he hopes it does. You know.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
like, I can't believe this. I can't believe I found you. I can't believe that you're here. But I'm also fully prepared for you to leave at some point. And you're like, oh, you sad boy.
Well, in the chorus, speaking of like, first off with the chorus,
Yeah.
what do you think the first line is? Because a few I've heard is colder breeze blows through my window, oh the breeze blows through my window, or though the breeze blows through my window. I'm leaning towards colder. I don't know why.
Yeah. I have no idea. Because
I
like,
think the like when he repeats the chorus like the second time, I do think it is colder, but I
Oh,
think
you think he
first,
changes it?
yeah, I think it changes.
Because the line later down where it's got my room freezes down 2 degrees down deep below as you go, kind of gives me the impression of like he's in like this personal hell of like
Yeah.
these cold pits of hell.
Yeah, when she leaves, like he's then left on his own again, and he's overthinking.
Like her warmth is gone.
Yeah, I also think this song is like Room 611 2.0. Personally.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Like take it all together, and I know we haven't looked at the second verse yet, but like taking it all together, like here's a person that he's like so in love with, but he's worried that they're going to leave, and when like leave for good, but when they leave, like, just like for the day, like leave to go to work, whatever, like he notices their absence, like their physical absence leaves him feeling cold.
I love men that yearn.
He is a yearner. This entire album is very much. I think one of my favorite tweets. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly who said it, but they said like Tobias being revealed as a needy and being needy and a yearner on a random Thursday. Probably wasn't something he would have expected. But yeah, he is. It's the whole album is like again. I get like the other artist that kind of comes to my mind is Hosier. You know, like it's not the same style of music, but it's that same style of like man yearning. You know, that I appreciate from Hosier. You know, I will say, but one thing I will say about this whole album, just as a whole, I can kind of understand why it didn't take off, because the songs kind of are all the same.
Yeah.
They blend very much into each other, which again is good in a way. Like it's a very cohesive record, but at the same time, it doesn't. It's very much like almost monotone in the sense of what it is.
It doesn't offer a lot of variation
Yeah.
or distinction.
Yeah. Which works negatively in its case, you know. Because like the whole album, like I said, like we're saying, like the whole album is just him sad yearner boy who it's just like, I don't want to be on my own. Don't leave me. You know? Like, and there's a whole album of that, and it's just like, wow, okay. Are you okay?
Like,
Are you sure
I wonder if the record labels were just like, do you need therapy? Do you need someone to talk to?
He's like, yes, and yes, but I also need money.
Give me
That
money,
will make me
please.
less sad.
I think this album is very personal, and like
Yeah,
this would work like if he were already established as an artist, people,
exactly.
would be interested and they'd want to hear that. But as a debut album, people probably are like, yeah, I don't know this guy. Like
Why is he
I
trauma dumping?
yeah.
Trauma Dump,
Is
the
he
album.
okay? Is he okay?
I think that's why, like, retroactively, it works as a really solid album because we already have like a lot of his other stuff. We know all
Yeah.
of his other stuff, so retroactively, it's again like a little snapshot of a part of his life that it's really interesting to look back on. Like you said, as an established artist, you can look back. It's a good look back on it. But like, it's the one negative I will say about this album is that it's very monotoned in this kind of, because the songs, like, again, the songs blend into each other really well, but there's no real variation in even just the kind of, because also if you listen to it, it's a very minimal production on the album, because obviously he had like no money, so you can hear like the very simple drum setup, because the drum beat is nearly the same on every song, because he literally has, it's not even probably a machine, it's probably just a two drum setup, like the two top with a bass drum and some cymbals, if he is using like an actual drum, it's probably just a very simple, like it's the same type of drum that we used on Opus, but it works better on Opus because Opus has so much more going on, and it's supposed to sound like, like again, like, because when I was listening to this, the interview clip that kept coming to mind to me was the one where he talked about when he made Ghost. He wanted it to sound like a 70s band who were in their 30s, who'd spent their time making 60s music, like that kind of Beach Boys kind of style music, and this is exactly what Passiflora sounded like to me. So again, it makes it great that it's the album he made just before he made Ghost, because it flows really well into that, because but yeah, it's a very simple production, and because it's very simple, except for one random instrument later on, which slaps you upside the side of the face when it pops up. But yeah, it's just, they're very simple production, and the songs are very simple. I'm sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent, but I just wanted to kind of get that in at the beginning of the album. It's very simple production, it's a very monotone production, and it feels like it works against it. But there's still solid songs. Like, I still really enjoy this album. I know some people didn't, and again, that's fine if you didn't. There is a reason it didn't take off. It's not everybody's cup of tea. But it just is a kind of like anthropology, like, look back on his writing style. It's fascinating to finally hear it. So it is. Even songs like this, like, but he's sad boy. Sorry, but back on topic. Sad boy.
Sad boy.
Sad boy.
Well, I get the idea that Sad Boy met someone on a Halloween party, because obviously he got the 23 nights since Halloween, which obviously then I couldn't find any significance to the 23rd of November in terms of like any annual holidays or anything like that. Maybe it was her birthday. Is she a Sagittarius? In which case, I don't know what the Pisces Sagittarius line is, like as in the compatibility, but
Yeah.
as a Pisces, prob's not good.
No, I probably did meet her on Halloween. Like,
Yeah, I think that the second verse is very straightforward. I think it's they kissed on Halloween.
Oh, okay.
that's so cute.
I was gonna say that as someone who has like a best friend who is a Sagittarius woman, she hates Pisces men because she finds them like too emotional. So I'm like, if she just so happened to be a Sagittarius, it tracks.
Yeah. But then what? Yeah, what happened on the 23 nights after Halloween?
This is when he
Question.
wrote the song. He sat down and wrote this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been 23 nights since you kissed me, because this is my diary, and I am writing it. Dear diary, it's been 23 nights since I got a girlfriend. Yay! But also, oh no, feelings.
Help.
It's been 23 days since we started dating, and I am scared every day that you're gonna leave.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. 5 days since you looked at me. I'm just happy this song lived up to my expectations, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I'm just glad the
It's-
whole album lived up to what I was hoping it would be. I've been
Yeah.
so sad if it came out, and I was like, I understand why he didn't want anyone to hear it.
Like, like, please don't suck. Oh god, it sucks.
no, I was sitting first listening to it. I was just like, I wasn't even really listening to it because I was just so baffled that I was listening to it. I was just like, I didn't really like, I couldn't hear what he was saying because I was too busy sitting going, is this real?
Whoa.
I was tripping
Yeah,
out.
not to be morbid, but I genuinely thought I'd die never hearing this song. Never hearing this
Same.
album.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Does anyone else have any other interpretations of the breeze?
Sad boy wrote a
Sad
diary
boy.
entry and
I want to give him a hug. I just want to give him a
yeah,
hug.
So
This
much
whole
here, Wilmer.
album, I just want to give him a nice big hug.
just rubbing his back. It's okay. Let it all out.
I mean, this was written during a global recession. No wonder his room was cold.
Yeah, fucking hell.
So next up, we've got this is the one that I think is going to be beefy. We've got
Yes.
Lucifer and Lucia, and oh boy, we've got some mythology to go through, which I'm
Yeah.
too stupid to go through. So I'm handing over the mic to y'all.
Well, the first and foremost thing is I'm not really like versed up on like before this. I wasn't really versed up on like Swedish traditional stuff, you know. And so because you mentioned the Lucia holiday that they have in December.
Yeah.
So I went and I did, you know, what any good podcaster does. I Googled it. And then it came up with the Swedish website where they were talking about it, which brought up the whole point that it's from the myth of Adam's first wife, Lucia, who consorted with the devil. And I'm like, no wonder Tobias Forge is the way he is, if this is a Swedish holiday they have every year.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, but yeah, because I was scrolling like Lucifer and Lucia. I was like, why is it called that? Because like I didn't understand, but now I understand. I get it. So he basically wrote a Lucifer, Lucia / Lilith love song in the style of Orpheus and Eurydice, and I'm like,
I mean, one thing to throw in there as well is
Right.
obviously within the first line he mentions Persephone, who was also
Yeah.
the Greek goddess who was taken to the underworld by Hades and was tempted with a fucking pomegranate.
Yeah.
But one of the symbolisms that's used a lot for her is a torch, which obviously Lucia being celebrated in Sweden with candles and light and all that stuff.
Yep.
I think it's
Also a
quite
light
fitting.
bringer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The part that I get with the Orpheus and Eurydice is because it says, no, I won't look back, because the whole point of that myth is Orpheus and Eurydice were in love, and then Eurydice died, and then Orpheus followed her into the underworld and made a deal with Hades to get her back out, and Hades basically said, you can both leave, but Orpheus has to walk in front and Eurydice has to walk behind, and you cannot look back to make sure she's following you. You have to walk looking forward the whole time. And they nearly got out, and then Orpheus looks back to make sure she's still there, and obviously then he fucked it up. But the whole point of that myth is, you like, if it's true love, you look back. You know, like that's the whole point. Is everybody would look back. You know, because you want to make sure that they're still there. You know, like, so
Wasn't Orpheus as well like a talented musician?
yes, he was. Yes.
Which is quite interesting.
Yeah, he was. I think if I remember correctly, he does eventually end up, when he dies, he eventually just ends up in the obvious underworld as well, and he plays music for Hades and stuff like that there, because it's there's a video game called Hades, which is great, and he's in it, and you can help him and Eurydice work out their issues because she's a bit mad at him for looking back.
Yeah.
It's like, you had one job, walk forward, and you couldn't even do that. But no, the whole point of the myth is true love, you look back, you know, like.
But going back to the album artwork quickly, this is why I wanted to talk about that. Is I kind of got that whole earth and underworld vibe from that. Just quickly throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I want to quickly just talk around about a few specific lyrics in this, which is mostly me just dicking about. The one where he's got, the walls were stained with our romance, you know it's easy to enhance. Like, obviously I'm thinking like it's like, oh, he was cute and he put pictures up.
Yeah.
Or he overshot.
Just jizzed everywhere.
I just jizzed. Oh, sorry. That's gonna leave a mark.
Oh,
No,
God.
I'm joking. It happens, okay? I'm just saying I've been there. But then also the one where it's got in the chorus where he's like, yes, I know in my heart that my gaze could break us in two. Obviously that's tied to the mythology, but I also interpreted it in potentially one or two ways. Either Toby's a little bit naughty and is a bit like, got a bit of a wandering eye, or she's very insecure and worried that anyone he ever fucking looks at, he's gonna go off and like leave her, and then she's just
Yeah.
making his life hell because that typical insecure thing of like, you were looking at another girl.
Or
Maybe,
maybe
yeah.
it could also be that he is insecure and that him being insecure and like always wanting to like check on her, look at her, be with her,
Mm.
see what she's doing is putting a strain on their relationship.
Yeah, he's
I'm
always
a man that
watching.
yearns. No, I'm
Literally,
joking.
needy, yearny man. That's just what he is.
Oh.
And I love that this needy, yearny man eventually made a very massive hard rock male goth band that's not very needy or yearny. Bring it back! Papa 5, yearner!
It's giving Vil Valo.
Yeah.
I love
But,
goth
Who's
neediness.
to say? But who's to say Papa 5 isn't a yearny, horny bitch?
Yeah.
Listen, that's why I wrote on Twitter, and again in that style of the Kendrick Lamar thing. Tobias, drop a Lilith, Lucifer love track, and my life is yours. Like, and technically he already did. I didn't know. It's interesting that he mentioned Persephone rather than Hades as well. I find.
Yeah, because I know she went on to become the queen of the underworld, but it's almost like she's doing her husband's bidding for her because he's off filing taxes.
Or
I don't know.
yeah, but she's also the goddess of spring, and the whole point of Persephone is the kind of to talk about the passage of seasons and stuff too. Like if we're getting into myths and stuff, it doesn't nothing to do with lyrics, but yeah, the whole point is like she got taken away by Hades, and her mum, whose name I cannot remember, got
Demeter.
Was
sad.
it Hera?
Demeter.
Demeter, thank you. She got sad, which has then caused autumn and winter to happen. So then whenever Persephone comes back, spring and summer happens because Demeter is happy that her daughter's there. Because Demeter is the goddess of seasons. So that's why autumn and winter happens, is because that's the half of the year she's gone with Hades. To talk about Hades for half a second, Hades is like the least annoying male god the Greeks ever had. He did what this is probably the most problematic thing he ever did. Do you know what I mean? Compared to a lot of them. But yeah, going off tangent, but yeah. I just find it interesting. I can't remember exactly because I do know that in some versions of the myth, it's not Hades himself that tells Orpheus about, like it basically kind of uses somebody else as like a messenger. Like Hades agrees to your bargain, but this is the rules he sets out. So maybe that's the version he's going with. Yeah, Persephone's kind of
Maybe.
like relaying the information. This is what my husband said.
I'm gonna be culturally ignorant for a second. The end of this song, are you thinking Spanish or Italian? As in the little guitar bit.
Oh,
It sounds
yeah.
Italian.
I
Oh,
said
yeah.
Italian.
Yeah.
Like kind of, I don't know, Godfathery.
Yeah, because I literally wrote down "Go off Italian man forge," foreshadowing Cornucopia.
Yeah. But then there's also actually kind of interesting if it's the Italian, because you have he's talked about Bowl loves Italian music.
Oh, stop.
And he said that Bowl loves that kind of, like that's where came from, because she loves that kind of music, that kind of, leave your husband and come with me kind of music, and yeah, I just that literally just flashed into my head there, because like she loves that, because obviously she went to Italy to study. Like he tells that she was in Italy to study or something like that there, and that's why she likes that kind of music. And they shared that music because she would translate for him what it meant. So that could be just like a little nod to her. Yearner. Every time we're gonna be like yearner, sad, needy. I can relate.
Yeah. But yeah, let's go on to In Enigma Schiffer. Now, I am confusion because for years it still is on there, a version of an Enigma Schiffer on YouTube that sounded like a demo version of Lady Morgue, and it still had that lyric of "If only I could look into your eyes." It was just like a really weird version. This completely different song.
I think the YouTube version's just listed wrong.
Maybe. I don't know where that other one came from. But obviously it's more like it's the play on words with the Enigma cipher, which is that wasn't it used in World War II to
Yes.
like stop the Nazis? But Schiffer is apparently a very German surname, and obviously we
Yeah,
had
it
a
means
lot.
boatman.
Does it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, but where's hang on, my notes because I wrote about because I was looking it up. Yeah, enigma, a person who is mysterious or difficult to understand. Schiffer, German word means boatman or shipper. The title of the song makes no sense.
Well, I reckon it because obviously we had a lot of that thing where it's like a lot of his sad songs were inspired by the two women who fucked him up.
Yeah.
I was talking last night to Katie about this that obviously Schiffer could be a surname of someone, and in what song did I say it was? Where it's talking
Leonore?
about
Is it
what about
Eleanor?
the Star Spangled Flights.
Oh,
I reckon he may have
yeah.
fallen in love with an American who had to like
Yeah.
leave, and she just happened to have the German surname. And I also think she's called Eleanor. So Eleanor Schiffer, if you're out there, I'm coming.
If
I'm,
you're a real person.
if you're a real person and you're out there and you broke Pookie's heart,
It's on site.
fight me. It's on site. Meet me in the Denny's car park.
This poor woman sitting somewhere going, someone's talking about me and I don't know why.
Or whatever version of Ali or Ali is,
Yeah.
because again, it doesn't. None of these names
Alien.
sound Swedish. So it's like Alexa. My fucking Alexa's just gone off.
Yes. No, not you.
Something. Alexa
Um,
Schiffer. It's on site.
Go
Anyway.
through all the different like
also,
Ailey,
speaking-
Eleanor sounding names, just like listing them all on site. On site.
Your last name is Schiffer. I've got personal beef.
also the name that keeps popping in my head is Claudia Schiffer.
Oh god, yeah.
That's how he fell in love
It's
with it. He had a
on site, I
poster of
don't
Claudia
care.
Schiffer on his wall.
I mean, I don't think the song is probably about international fashion model Claudia Schiffer.
We never know. We'll never know unless somebody asks him.
But having this song anyway, like using the sort of Enigma code decipher thingy, it's giving that whole. If we're gonna get GCC English on this whole thing, like I've done for this whole fucking album.
Curtains are blue because they're blue.
No, he just bought them on sale at IKEA. Shut up.
Yeah.
No, no, but obviously, like there's that whole thing where it's like women are really hard to read.
Yeah.
So you know that's imagery of that. I've got a line I've got beef with. if it's if it's what we think it is,
Yeah.
where it's in the bridge and it says, "Just let your cum play lead in this role, and may your blood run cold through your pulse." And to me, that's giving. She was thinking with her dick. Well,
Yeah.
obviously not her dick, and cheated on him because she was just like following her horniness.
There's definitely somebody who cheated on him, I think. Because like you talking about room 611.
Yeah.
That to me is a song that sounds like he got cheated on. Like he definitely got cheated on by somebody.
I just want to
You know?
know who cheated on my boy. Who? I just want to talk for a second.
I mean,
And what were you thinking? Like, what was the thought process?
he probably probably got fed up of him yapping about like Metallica
And the Shags.
No, I'm joking.
If I have to listen to the Shags one more goddamn time, I'm gonna kill myself. Who are you? I don't know who you are. I'm gonna have sex with you. Just sort of have to listen to the fucking Shags anymore.
Listen, I want a shag. I don't want the Shags.
I don't care about the cultural significance of the Shags there, and then if Kurt Cobain liked them. I don't care.
Shag me.
It's like, no, but you have to listen to it. No.
I've also got this. This is where my expertise come in. Where he's got "Love awaits you on the flat field." I know what a flat field is. I don't know what fucking context he's trying to throw it in here because it's a photography reference. In which I put down "Thank you, Daddy Akafors," for probably teaching him that. Which basically it corrects like any sort of irregularities in the shadows and lights, and basically everything's uniformly bright, so and even. But also, I saw someone on Twitter say that it had a sexual meaning, but I couldn't find anything on that.
Maybe he got photo evidence of somebody cheating on him.
Love awaits you on the flat field. don't you just know that love awaits you? I don't know. Maybe he's.
Means that, like, because you said like everything is uniformly bright.
Mm.
Maybe it's like if you would, come into the light, into the flat fields instead of hiding away, then love would be there.
He does like to use light metaphors on this album. I've got a few more written down in other songs. But yeah, basically, I think this whole song is.
I got cheated on by Claudia Schiffer.
And I
In
learned
a
how to
field.
read her mind.
She cheated on me in a field of all places.
That one's. I think that's my least favorite on this album.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's one of my lower down songs. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, Kane.
Sorry, Claudia Schiffer.
I do like kind of the end bit though, where it's like, as night falls, darkness calls, so meet it be. I think he probably meant like, so mote it be, like the
Yeah.
Wiccan read, or like a lot of Wiccans or magic practitioners use like at the end of their spells to like wrap it up. So
I don't know that.
that part kind of is interesting. I like that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's the
C+.
Yeah.
Another thing I will say
You
about
passed.
Tobias is doing this album. Clearly, he's trying to be, like I said, like he's trying to be a bit more, in air quotes, normal, a bit more marketable. But the man cannot help but write slightly spooky shit. You know?
Did you get Danny Elfman vibes from this as well at the
Yes.
end?
A little bit, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, Willy Wonka has just come out.
I
Actually,
think
no, I
this
think
is
it's been
also. Hang on, what track number is this? So I can listen to it.
Is this three?
4? 3, sorry, yeah.
3. One
Yeah,
second.
3.
My tutorial
Yeah,
3.
exactly. Okay, this is what I was saying about the building blocks of Ghost. This sounds like infesticism as well.
Ah.
If you listen to it, they're very much infesticism vibes off of this song.
Yeah.
So it is. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is why I wanted to hear this album, because I was like, I can hear you in there. Papa's in there. Just don't
It's
know it
so
yet.
weird. I've got a song coming up actually that I think is it's Gigolo 0.5,
Yeah.
but I'll get onto that.
But yeah, that's like the Enigma Schiffer. Like, it's again not one of my favorite songs, but the kind of the way the guitar sounds, it's very kind of late stage opus infest. You know, kind of that. You know, that kind of spooky ooky kind of guitar that he likes to use in the early albums.
Yeah.
It's like, I see you, I hear you, I know you're there. He's got
So we're going to go on to now a song that we all kind of know, except there is a
Yeah.
little bit of a twist that there is a lyric change. So this is House of Affection.
Yep.
Instead of don't go knocking the door on the House of Affection, it's don't you knock on the door of a House of Affection. Obviously, if you go back and listen to the YouTube version that's been on for years, I think
Yeah.
this was the MySpace demo. But I've never quite understood this song, if I'm honest.
I think, and I said this the first time we ever talked about it, when we talked about his stuff, I think this song is about getting into a new relationship, but like, don't get into a new relationship if you still have a lot of baggage from the previous one.
Oh, I remember, yeah, because I
You
was
know?
always saying like, is coming an innuendo, like a double entendre kind of thing.
No, because either way, it's like, don't you knock on the door of the House of Affection unless you're coming on your own. You know? Like, don't start this relationship. Don't get into this relationship if you're also bringing them with you. You know? Like, if you still aren't over who you were with, like previously, and you're gonna drag them into this, like, you two still haven't figured your shit out. Don't bother. You know? Don't do this shit. You know? That's why I read it. You know?
Yeah, that's how I read it too.
The bit that confuses me though is like the because he's spoken about perspective confusion when he's covered other bands. Is like in the second verse where he's talking about he doesn't even want to know unless you're coming on your own, boy. Is that him or is that someone else?
I think it's both. Like, it's because he clearly is somebody that, like, just judging from all of this man's work over the 20-odd year period that he has been making music, he is also somebody that feels very bigly. You know, bigly. This just came out. Sorry, but like, he has big feelings. So like, I can also imagine he's telling himself, like, do I want to get into this relationship with this girl if I'm not over this American that left? You know what I mean? Like, it's a kind of both sides. You know, like don't you get into a relationship with him if you're still thinking about whoever you were dating before, and like I shouldn't get into a relationship with her, or you shouldn't get in a relationship with her if you're still thinking about who you're with before. So it's kind of like it's not just women that are doing this; it's also guys can do this too, type thing. It's like
Mhm.
He's
both.
also like talking about like I think like he's implying that she's very potentially manipulative, where he's like,
Mm.
I see you coming for your own sake, another heart will come of use, you'll cut it up and let it bleed, and that's your ego that you feed. It's like this woman
Mhm.
tore up to shreds.
Yeah, because unless you're coming on your own, boy, she don't even want to know what might have been. Like, it's kind of like she won't even look at you in this. If you have any other type of attachment, maybe.
Mm,
Like it's like, listen, I'm not getting into that shit. I don't want to know.
mm.
And he's just like, why won't anybody date me? What's happening?
This one still holds up for me. This is still one of I
Mhm.
think still one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do
just because.
appreciate that this version is like more clear than the one that was on
Mm.
YouTube. It's like it's a much
Yeah.
more crisp version of it.
Oh, the orchestra makes me want to throw myself off a bridge in an
Mhm.
affectionate way.
Just because of a song that happens later on in the album, this was my favorite, one of my favorite songs. This is my third favorite now off this album. So it is, but it's still really like, again, they're like the top three are like squashed together in a sense. Like they're all really
Mm.
close. Some really good songs on this album, but again, like it has that monotone vibe through the whole thing. So they kind of I feel like what happened as well was like the really good songs got lost in there because it's just like they all sound the same.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
I think that's what did House of Affection really well by being on its own on YouTube
For so
outside of
long, yeah.
everything else.
Mm.
It kind of let it shine, and you're like, oh, it's so good.
Overall, good song. We like it. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Should we move to
I liked it when it was on YouTube for however fucking long, and I liked it the same this one, even though the lyrics changed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
10 out of 10? Right. We got cinematique, as in the French spelling, because nothing has changed.
I just want to say real quick with this song, his voice is insane in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I love this one.
Very low octave kind of hit form in this one.
I love it.
Yeah.
Quite a treat. We don't get the low octaves that much.
I will say this is the one that reminded me of Gigolo in the solo. Like
Yeah.
the again, this is the one I've got like the most questioned lyrics for because I'm not quite sure what he says.
Yeah.
So I've got written down, if I hadn't started to run towards the light across the field, like I said, Bro's obsessed with light on this album. And then we've got only solace or holy souls, people have questioned, would have
Mm.
died or would have dried the quicksand. I ran. And then in the main chorus, where he's like, cinematic. This is the next line, help. Because I've got a version written down that says, high as Crips, problem solver, automatic. And then I've got via scripts, problem solved per automatic, or
I think
via
it's
scripts, problem solved per automatic.
I think
And
it's
what
Scripps version.
the scripts, yeah, because it makes sense because you're like conducting. The way I saw this song was like you're almost putting on a show of like a perfect relationship, but actually maybe behind closed doors it's not.
Yeah.
I also like that. I wonder what the fuck the poor per automatic meant, but obviously, like as a photographer, you've just got an automatic setting on the camera rather than manually setting your.
Yeah, but it's not even just photography; it's a film. You know,
Yeah, well, this is why I'm like a
because
bit
it's like
confused.
romantic dialogue, beautiful drama.
Mm,
And things like that. There, it's a photographic view, color so bright. Like it's like you're
mm.
almost like you said, putting on a show, but it's more of like this, like like what he thinks like it's supposed to be, like in his head. Like what a relationship's supposed to be from all the films you've seen and all this here. Like what you think a relationship is going to be versus
The
the shit
reality.
show it actually ends up being sometimes.
Mhm.
Well, funny that I actually wrote down the whole sort of rose tinted glasses metaphor when you
Yeah.
first get into a relationship and you think everything's great, even like the little shitty things you do. It's like it's fine, they love me, and then later down the line, um, and then like after the first chorus where he's got the I guess I should be thankful for the harsh lessons learned Now I believe in the pain of creation. I am, she teach, I burn. And it's that kind of thing of like, and I can totally relate to this from personal experience, where it's like you're almost thankful for the shit you went through because you know better now of what to do next time. And that's what I took from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this song. This is one of my tops, I
Yeah,
think.
it's
I
very
like
good.
this one a lot too.
I like that because like, he usually only kind of saves his lower tones for harmonizing.
Mm.
Now, like you don't really hear him doing that on albums. He kind of sticks into his. I mean, I understand why, because he has to sing it live, and it might because at this time as well, he's still in like in terms of singing wrong, if that makes sense. Like because he talks about that in Elizabeth. Like he can't sing Elizabeth live now because he sang so much now that he probably has like vocal. Like I know he said he did the vocal. He went to a vocal coach twice when he really lost his voice. But he is more aware now of what to do with his voice to keep it kind of healthy, you know. So like I mean, I understand why he probably wouldn't do the low tones very often in live because you have to sing it like that every night, and it'd be a bit exhausting on the throat if you're not used to doing it. But I do love hearing his low tones a bit more often. Do it at least once for a song you won't sing live, because there's always one song you won't sing live. Do it on that song.
See the light, cough, cough.
Yep. In the darkness and the heart of my love. Wheeze.
I think the main themes of the song is the whole rose tinted glasses.
Yeah. It kind of starts off with like a cinema, like the cinema romance of lovey dovey, and then it just
Yeet.
oh no.
I also I, I haven't managed to get it to fully do this. Just I'm guessing just because of the way it was either ripped or stuff, but it's meant to be a seamless transition into
Yeah.
the next song, Thank God. This I want to talk about a little bit because obviously this has technically been out in some form since 2022 via Magna Carta Cartel, and I was honestly not like. Obviously, Martin came forward and said that because of he was involved in this song a little bit, that obviously then he asked for permission to release it,
Yeah.
and Tobias was like, "Yep, cool." But I wasn't expecting it to be this similar, but I'm kind of glad it is because I've always loved the MCC version. It's just I've not been a big fan of MCC and stuff, so like
Mm.
I'm glad I've got the Tobias version, and it is pretty
I
much
prefer Tobias
similar.
singing it. No
Yeah,
offense, Martin,
exactly.
but
Yeah, I've just never been a fan of Martin's voice. That's me
no.
personally, um, but having said that, I feel like if from what I've read and I've understood correctly, I can tell this is Martin's lyric writing.
Mhm.
It's just a bit different compared to the rest of the album. Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer Tobias singing it, but it's still a pretty good song.
I love the little bit like I know, you know, we know.
There's a lot of that kind of I noticed in the whole album there's that kind of repetitive kind of like I know, you know, we know, or like I think it's Mary Says, actually, because I know
Possibly.
there's another song where he kind of has that kind of like repetitive,
Mm.
but I can't
He
remember
does
what
it a
it is.
lot actually towards the end of this album when I've been
Yeah,
clicking through. Um
because like in Lucifer and Lucia, but I know, yes I know, so I won't, no I won't. Kind of like I like that, and the whole way through the album he kind of does that. It's
yeah, I feel like because I don't know because I've just got it in my head with this song that it's written by Martin. I can't put like any sort of context into it as much because obviously we know
yeah,
because we're parasocial bitches. We know like everything that sort of Tobe sort of said he's gone through and stuff, and like I can be like, oh yeah, that's probably what happened here. So with this one, I'm like, but it's a good song.
the lyric kind of makes me laugh. Is it's either real fun or refund is easy for the virgins and the road you ignore. If any worship isn't dying, rely on before. That just makes me laugh. Like, refund's easy for virgins, is it?
Yeah, I don't
Take
know what
back,
that
please.
means.
Like But then as well as another thing, like not to shit on Martin. I know the man can write stuff, but I will also say that Martin has a writing credit on Year Zero, but I don't think he actually wrote anything of Year Zero. If you know what I mean. Like, so it could have been like they both wrote it, but You know,
Let me check something 1 second.
because I know Tobias still has the writing credit on it on the MCC album. You know,
Oh, that's what I was going to look at. I was just going to go on the YouTube and see if it was in the caption because I feel like I saw it on there.
because like if it had just been Martin writing it, he wouldn't have needed to ask Tobias
True.
for it back. You know, it's like it's my song, gimme. You know,
Mine.
like you can fucking have it. I don't want it. Can I have that? Can I have Savant-Garde, please? Yeah.
No, we have
sure.
Savant Guard at home.
Oh,
Should we move on to red lights then?
yeah.
Bro, for a man who couldn't drive back then, because he didn't get his license till after Ghost, he knows a lot about reverse lights.
You've seen a lot of cars leaving, and then him
Yeah.
trying to go on.
Just
Hey,
saying.
I didn't get in.
Oh, but
I love the line "Vengeance serving as gas." I do love that.
That is a good line.
Great line. That sounds like a line a woman would write.
it sounds like a line that was in fucking My Chemical Romance, like Danger Days album. That was all very
Yeah.
like that. Also the next line where he's like, "But this monkey isn't getting nearer like a carrot to the ass." Which
Yeah.
obviously does that very famous, like it's always used in like Looney Tunes and cartoons and stuff of like the donkey with the carrot dangling above it with
Yeah.
that's tied to him.
Yeah.
I don't
What
know
he
what the
means,
monkey
I
is.
didn't know. Huh?
I don't know what the monkey is.
I don't know.
My
Maybe it's
boyfriend
just
said maybe like a monkey on the back, but I was like, but it's getting further away from him. So it was like a monkey on somebody else's back. I don't know.
maybe he is the monkey. I don't know. Maybe he's Robbie Williamsing it.
Maybe the monkey is the friends we made along the way.
The monkey is friends with middle.
The monkey's his uncle.
Yeah, his
Sorry.
name is Bob.
But I like this song. Again, I will say that the kind of back, I keep saying the back end of this album is a lot of, it feels like regret. There's a lot of regret at the back end of the album. You know, like it's less emo love songs and more, because like the line 17 years spent wishing to get older every day since looking back, because he did talk about
Yeah.
like as a kid he wanted to be a teenager, and then as a teenager he wanted to be an adult, and then he regretted it when he became an adult because it meant he didn't really appreciate his childhood.
Yeah.
You know, so like it feels like the back end of this album is very much him kind of regretting, like, you know, not appreciating, you know, the time he had as a teenager and learning and growing as a teenager and all this here, you know.
Someone, I saw a theory somewhere that I don't personally think this is about this because as if he'd have the money to splurge on this. But someone was like, "Oh, did he go visit the red light district?" But is this his version of like the police's Roxanne? And I was like, but
No. I think it literally is like red light, like it's somebody leaving. It's someone
yeah, the rear
driving
view,
away.
the rear lights on a car, literally.
Yeah.
God, if he dated someone with a car, he would have been the one who like she had to drive him around a lot because he didn't have a license.
He was the passenger princess.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I don't know why, but the story in my head that just popped into my head about him getting left off at his house where the door was locked and he thought he opened it psychically.
Oh.
It just came into my head. I don't know why.
The telekinesis.
Yeah, that's telekinesis, Kyle. But yeah, like that's I always think every now and again that pops into my head, and I'm just like, I love him so much.
Oh, there's a line here that breaks my heart where it's like clunk your tears, hollow words, drunken tears. It's like this man drunk crying. But then
Oh, yeah, I was about to say this is the song where he hijacked himself. He stole from himself. Yeah.
we have a foreshadowing of Kaiserian, where it's the sound of deadlines whistling past your ears, which I still don't know what the fuck that means, but I'm here for it.
It means it's the sign, it's the idea of like all these kind of deadlines that you put in yourself, you know, like I have to be famous before I'm 30, I have to have a family before I'm 30, I have to have a good job or whatever before I'm 30. All these deadlines that you have set yourself, and they're flying past you when you don't reach them, you know, like you know, like he said, like I have to be famous by 19. That flew past, and he's like, shit, I'm not famous now. Next age goal, 25, flies past. Fuck, that didn't happen. You know these
That
deadlines.
makes
You know,
that makes sense here, but I don't see how that makes sense in Kaisarian.
Kaisarian, there's a lot of things doesn't make sense. Okay.
Well, true.
It's just a
Yeah.
collection of words that he thought sounded nice.
Yeah. And then there's the bridge where he's like, no one understands the way you are today, and no one knows what you can turn into someday. And I partly think is that more about himself,
Yeah.
because he's like, again, it's that thing of like, I'm not a musician, but I know I'm a musician.
Yeah. I'm not a successful musician, but god damn it, I still make music. I like this one. I do like this. This is kind of up in the top because there's only 10 songs. Like this is like more in the top 5 for me. So as
Yeah.
I do like this one.
Because I was going to say, on the next song, which is Last,
Yeah.
that opens up with kind of, I feel like, another reference where it's got, at last the summer died away, and I'm like, when the summer died.
Yeah.
It always comes back.
It was always you.
Always come back.
Again, I wrote down with this song, it's kind of like we all go through those relationships that are eye-opening.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't want to be the last mistake you make before you change, which is kind of like he'd rather be with her forever than she finds the one after him and is like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be, and like has all these realizations type thing.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like I relate to this song a lot. Because like I feel like had I not been broken up with, like I would have thought what I was going through was normal and the best thing
Yeah.
ever. And turns out no, there was a lot of shit going on that,
I do like the last line. It says, if I'm going to be the last, then I'm going to be the worst mistake you ran away from fast. And it's like I'm not gonna be happy about it. I'm gonna be a dick about it. I am gonna be a dick.
He's also right. I mean, those women
Yeah.
are probably kicking themselves now. I mean, obviously, I'm very glad he didn't stay with them because, like,
No.
but
We stand bowl.
Yeah.
we stand.
We stand the queen in this house. She's our Khaleesi.
What the fuck is he on about? Like midway through, where he's like Twilight stalking or stalking. I don't know. This love some says this lonesome days. Yeah, like I said, I've got this segment.
Yeah.
I do not know what is happening.
I don't
I don't
know. It's like, well, Twilight's kind of like the last light before the dark.
He's obsessed with light.
Yeah,
on
well,
this album.
light's a great kind of thing to use, because you know, for analogies and stuff. But yeah, so like, Twilight's stalking, as in like Twilight's near, like the end of the day is near, this
That makes
love
sense.
someday, or this lonesome day's rest. I do think the love someday says somewhere someone believes to be the last or to be blessed, but like it's like, the day's nearly over, like the relationship's nearly over, it's getting closer. And again, it's just another thing about regret and all this here, and like he doesn't want to be her regret. He doesn't want to be that one who says like, like, oh, like you made, like you said, like you don't want to be like. And then I realized in that relationship that it shouldn't be this way. It's like, I don't want to be that. Fuck off. No.
This one's one of my least favorites, though, I must say.
It's okay. It's fine.
It's fine.
It fills the space on the album.
So then, can we? Before I move on, has anyone got anything? Because I need to. I've got things to say on this next song.
This is my favorite.
Let's go.
Next one is my favorite song.
Man is yearning. Man's talking French. I've got a lot to say.
Yeah. This song definitely is him pulling himself apart from Mary Gore. Like this is him. Like Mary is being used as that kind of thing on your shoulder that will, because it says like, Mary says there's something missing that keeps passing us by, and that all those years I've spent trying more or less was a lie. Like that kind of thing. Like you tried all those years, and like clearly something's missing, and it's not me.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of using Mary as this almost devil on your shoulder that's kind of, mocking in a way. Like she's gonna leave you, and it's gonna hurt really bad because this time it feels really real and stuff like that. There, Um, yeah, it's so good. It's so fucking good.
There's 1 second, let me get the translation up again because I
Mary
forgot to actually.
says Mary does what's best for one of us. Just keep going. You know, like
Yeah, this is what makes me think like it's Mary's like whatever he's currently doing in his life right now, it's
mm,
not benefiting maybe the rock star side of him
yeah,
or vice
or
versa.
the
Like
normal
there's
side of him. You know,
yeah,
like
depending on what he's doing.
because there was a period of time where he got a normal job and tried to do normal things. You know, like he tried to be like everybody else. You
Mm,
know, so Mary's not helping that. Mary doesn't want to do that. You know,
mm,
Mary wants to be a rock star and sing about Satan and doing all these weird things. You know, like and this version of because this is one of the few things where he's listed as Tobias Forge. Because like, I know early Repugnant that he's listed as Tobias Forge because he hadn't thought of a name yet.
mm,
You know, but like Repugnant and Subvision, he's listed as Mary Gore for most of them.
mm.
You know,
There's
so
there's the bit in French which I'm not quite sure which one it is. One interpretation of it is adieu d'espoir, which is like goodbye despair.
yeah,
And then someone put that it could also be non de respond, which is no response. And then obviously c'est la vie, which is that's life.
yeah,
So and just that you and I no longer we, that can either be like the relationship or him and Mary. Like, he's
yeah.
having to sort of normalize himself. Also, Mary says I love you early.
Oh.
Yearning.
Mhm.
What is it with
Yeah.
men doing it? Like every guy
It's
I
just
speak.
because he's a
Bring
Pisces.
back,
Yeah.
bring back men that yearn because it's
No,
not
but
a thing anymore, and I don't. There's only a few of them that do it. Bring it back. God damn
Y-
it, we need it.
low key though, both my boyfriends, as in like separate relationships. I'm
Mm.
not. I'm not poly.
Both
Um,
boyfriends I'm currently dating right now are very
no,
yearning because I'm so good.
but both of them. One of the. Yeah, both of them were around the 2 week mark when they said
Yeah,
I love you, and I was like, oh.
Oh.
And it's like, what is it? Guys just very straightforward with that. I do find like men seem to say it really quickly, which is quite funny because they're like seen as like the less emotional of us.
I think we've
Mhm.
established throughout history that men are far more emotional than women are.
Well, yeah,
They just don't want to admit that they're emotional.
Yeah.
yeah,
I also
uh,
think as well for some men, like not all men obviously, but some men, like this saying "I love you" is just a thing that they feel like they have to say, but they don't mean it. You
mm,
know, it's like, oh, I'm in a relationship now, so I have to say I love you.
yeah,
You
Mhm.
know, whereas like, you have, like guys that say it and they go, but hang on, no, wait, like because they it means something for them too. But for women, it means a lot. You
mm,
know, whereas for guys, it's like whenever it's like flowers for Valentine's Day. It's easy to get flowers for Valentine's Day. It's the picking the flowers that's the thought, not the
mm.
getting the flowers. So like you see guys pick them up at gas stations. I got your flowers, and you're like, yes, but did you actually think about these flowers when you got them, or did you just think you had to get me flowers? You know,
Yeah,
um,
Yeah.
it's that kind of thing. I think that's why guys say it early a lot. But feel like going back to this yearner. I feel like
This one.
I feel like he's one of those people who says it, but like not in a way of like
he's genuine
he's genuinely saying it. But I do think he probably falls hard fast.
and fast. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. He's a
Yeah,
Pisces. We do.
yeah. But
Um,
I think for all like just judging from this album, I think that whenever he gets into relationships with anybody, and not just romantic, I think he's just one of those people who's just like fully committed. You know, and
Mhm.
it's sad when you think about it,
mm,
like, what's
I
happened
I
to him.
think
But
I think that's like a typical kind of neurodivergent experience
oh
though,
yeah.
because
yeah,
I mean, I find myself in that position a lot. Like, like, oh, we're friends. Oh, I'm gonna like we're friends. Friends forever. Yay, friend. And other
yes,
people are just like, yeah, I guess we're friends. But it's like it's so hard for me to make friends.
Oh, I get
That
it.
like it's very important, or like
yeah,
romantic relationship. Like in my last relationship, or my main relationship, like
yeah,
my ex and I, like I was like, yeah, I knew very early that like, yes, I'm in love. I love you. But like I waited a long time to say it because I didn't want to freak him out.
yeah.
Mm,
um, so I think that like that's kind of a typical neurodivergent thing. Like the emotions are there and they're big and I feel them and I know what they are. You have to catch up to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I wrote down a few potential song references here as well.
Yeah.
So in this was just a little one. It probably isn't. It's just what it reminded me of in the lines where it's like, just don't ask me. No, hold on. And just don't ask me where to go. Just don't ask because I don't know. It just reminded me. There's a line in that's It's So Easy by Guns N' Roses where it's like, don't ask me where because I don't know, and I don't know why that was a reference. And then in earlier on, it's got, oh, I know him so well. I just started writing Elaine Page down, where it's like, wasn't it good? But fun fact, that was written by, if you don't know what I'm talking about I Know Him So Well from the musical Chess, which was written by Benny and Bjorn from ABBA.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Mm.
I didn't
Wasn't
know
it
that.
good? Wasn't it
I
fun?
probably should have noticed that
Wasn't
because
it
the songs sound
madness?
very Abbey.
He'll
Abbey.
be mine. I know him so well. Fucking love that song.
That's probably a reference. If he loves ABBA, it's probably a reference.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, surely. It also implies that he knows the musical Chess, but hey ho.
I'd say somebody saying as well, like if you take it in context of him talking about Mary Gore, and then you could think forward about Marion Cross, you know, as well. But also the thing that came into my head as well was like listening to this, I kept thinking of like interview moments because I thought this song, and all I could think of was that moment from the Rolling Stones interview. He's somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
I
That's all I
won't
could
say
think of.
I won't say where I met this person,
Yeah,
because it will probably pinpoint things a little bit more, but just to
I
keep
met
things as vague as
them
possible.
somewhere.
But I met this person on tour who has a copy of this, and they seem nice and normal about it.
Yeah,
Weirdly, um, and they actually said that they think that Mary Says is the best song he's ever written.
I agree.
Really, I don't know if I'd go that far. It's still
I
good,
think
but
it's
like,
it's up high because it's a very introspective song, and he doesn't do that a lot. Really, not really. Like a lot of his songs are very external. You know, talking about other people, other things, other events. You know, like he doesn't have a lot of songs that are very that I can think of that are very in and like really sitting thinking about himself. And like, because this song is really a moment. As I'm saying, like it's a moment on the album where he's sitting and he's looking at himself, this version of himself that he thinks is holding him back.
mm,
You know, like he thinks to himself, Mary Gore's holding me back. This guy that I've been for 10 years or whatever at this point is holding me back. This version of me that listens to death metal and is weird and like Satan and all this stuff is holding me back. That's what's stopping me from reaching my goals of being famous and all this here. So I have to,
or getting with women because he's insufferable.
yeah. No, but I'm saying, you know, like, but the whole like it's very introspective. It's very it's him kind of trying to say goodbye to this version of himself, which weirdly that version of himself is because this might be just me being thinking too much, but like Mary Gore is very much him when he's just enjoying music and stuff like that. There, it reminded me an awful lot of Copia.
Mm.
Because when he created Copia, he created him with all his. I feel like he created Copia with all his negative aspects. You know, like he's
Yeah.
a mama's boy. He likes collecting toys and stuff like that. There, he's vain. He bullies the ghouls on stage. Apparently, you know, and created him at this time, and then everybody was like, "No, we love this guy," you know, and that's all I could think of was like he's come so far in himself.
Wow.
Yeah, so far noir. But no, but he's come so far in kind of because like he always talked about he never saw himself becoming famous. He never saw himself ever becoming a rock star. He could never envision himself being a rock star, which is why he came up with all of these stage
Stage
names.
names and
Yeah,
personas.
yeah. So he thought he had to get rid of this guy that he'd been wearing, you know, like this guise he'd been wearing, like for however long to be on stage. He's like, I have to get rid of this one and then maybe be this normal Tobias Forge, you know, who has, you know, normal feelings and is normal, very normal.
Air quotes.
Yeah. And it didn't, clearly it didn't work. And then when he was weird again, it worked. But I just, but like, it just, he had to be the right kind of weird. He had to kind of, fix it a little bit. Like tune it a little, tune the radio a little, in his little weird radio to fix it. But I think this is probably one of my favorite things he's ever written because of how like introspective I feel like it is. Because because like again, that thing Mary says, "I love you" early, maybe too early to tell, and that joining equals parting. Oh, I know him so well. Like I just love that. It's like the whole thing is just, I think it's just really, really beautiful. And again, it's that idea of letting go, because he thinks that's what's holding him back. It's like it's not. It's just not being yourself. That's what's holding you back.
Yeah.
Because like I feel, because like again, like I'm parasocial as fuck. I know this, and like just judging from like reading interviews and seeing things, and just like looking over years of footage and stuff. Because like again, I've only been a fan since 2022, but I have like engorged myself on the media that exists for the last 20 years of this man's career. And I will say, like, if you look at him like right now, he seems super comfortable with himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he grew his hair out long again. He's got a beard, mustache thing going on. He's not saying he can't see himself as a rock star. You know what I mean? Like he's fine with himself. Like he put his name on a movie, like his whole name.
Yeah.
Full
Like
government legal name.
yeah, he put his whole
not
legal
like
birth
Ghoul
name.
Rider or anything, or
Yeah. He didn't put like directed, created by a ghoul writer. He put directed, created by Tobias Forge. And again, like I know it's like going forward in time, but like bringing up Copia again, I do think Copia helped him kind of come to terms with himself a little bit, because he says Copia is special to him. Because I think he put a lot of him, like again, like a lot of the negative traits he felt of himself out for everybody to see and be like, "Isn't he awful?" And everybody went, "No," and he went, "Oh shit." Uh-oh.
You don't like me. You really like me.
Yeah, kind of like that, because he said he didn't like Copia when he made him. You know what I mean?
He
Like,
made him with the belief that like no one would like him because he didn't
yeah,
like him either.
yeah. 'Cause-
And then it's just like, no, actually, this is like our favorite person ever. He's like, oh my god, you actually like me.
Yeah, because like again, again, I know we're not talking about that kind of peer. We're talking about Passiflora, but I just feel like it connects. Like it's like linked through time.
It's all circular.
Circular.
Circle.
Yeah, but like
Circle.
it's connected through time, like through like a little string or whatever. But like he was always scared to be himself because he thought that's what was holding him back. But the second he became himself, like whenever the lawsuit happened, and he had all these people telling him he was awful. You know what I mean? Like he had like all these people, because there was that interview where he said like he lost friends and stuff. That he, because they all sided with the lawsuit ghouls and things. Like he'd been told, like like being told you're awful, and then when you create this character based on how awful you think you are because of what people are saying, and they're all like, actually, we like him. It's really nice thinking, like again, like retroactively thinking, like listening to this and knowing where he is now professionally, and from what I can see, like he's like, because he started growing his hair, he got the beard, like you can tell he's feeling himself, like you tell he's feeling great about himself in a way that he hasn't for a long time, by the looks of it, and it's nice. I like the fact that he's gone the distance, and again, that made me think of that Rolling Stones interview where he's like, he's somewhere. He's like, he's always there. He's never really gone anywhere, really.
Yeah.
Oh, I just really like this song. I just really like this guy.
I just have a lot of feelings.
I got a lot of feelings. But yeah, I love this song.
Well, moving on to Solitaire, because I'm back in fight mode again.
Yeah.
Because it's weird. It says like they crowned a new queen of the Nile soon, gently strutting down the aisle. There's probably a history reference here that I haven't looked up on, but I was like, has he been engaged before? But I know with Swedes, they tend to be like, they tend to date a lot longer than, and they usually do the marriage thing very last. Like I think I wouldn't say hey just in case they don't want their business out there, but like one of my friends, their parents still to this day weren't married, or like um someone I who is it I know or they never got, or they didn't get married until they were 40s, even though like their kids were like grown up and stuff. So,
Well, even
but
like again, like Tobias didn't get married to Bull until 2017.
yeah, but like
So
it made me think like when he was young and just like had a lot of feelings, whether he just jumped into it. But obviously where he's like the girl beyond repair, they're solitaire. Kind of gives the impression that she's messy, and then at the end where he's like, so spread your arms and legs and fly, this is goodbye. I'm like, did she cheat on you? Do I need to go
is this the
hit
same
someone?
lady from the other one, from cinematic?
Yeah,
What's happening?
who are we fighting? And then it's like nothing to compare celibataire. Bro's no longer getting laid. And into your velvet palace, crystallite. Again, it's giving that whole
Velvet Palace. Okay, Hosier.
all right. What's that line? Oh, what's the song? Is it Lady Morgue, where it's like, and apparently not only I could be in thee. It reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight these women.
Yeah. Again, it's it goes back to that sad boy thing, you know. Very short song, kind
Oh
of
yeah.
like But I love the little like I like that little kind of, you know, it dated messy women.
You know that reminds me of in The Depth of Satan's Eyes.
Yeah.
It's
The
same vibe.
opening of this song also reminds me of a ghost song, and I don't know which one.
Hold
Like
on.
it
Let me play it.
feels like a ghost song, and I don't know because I was listening to it yesterday, and I was like, feels like something I've heard this before. You know, the little kind of organy.
Yeah.
You know
I'm trying to
that.
think as well why
Secular Haze?
No, it's not that kind of. No, it's not that kind of like sing-songy organ. It's. I'm just bad at mimicking music by face.
I can't think of what song it is either.
I can't either, but I can hear it in my head. You know what I mean? I can hear like if I feel like I've heard it from him on another song, and I don't know what it is. Also, somebody pointed out, and I can't remember which song it was. That there's a bit that sounds a bit like Monstrous Clock somewhere in one of the songs, and I can't
Oh,
remember which
I
one
saw
it
someone
is.
say that, but I can't.
I can't.
say which one.
He was basically just hijacking a lot of his own. Like the ghost is built on the ashes of
An old.
yeah of
The
yeah.
ashes of an old.
But yeah, it's really I'm so glad we finally got to hear it because I was like, this is like I really wanted to hear this whole album because I was like, it's again, like I've said multiple times, it's a stepping stone to Ghost. And I was like, and I know you'll hear Ghost in it, and you can hear like throughout all the songs, you can hear a bit of Opus and a bit of Infest, and through all the songs with the kind of way the guitar is being played and you know the drums and stuff like that. There. Also, I forgot to. I can't remember which song has it. One of these songs has a saxophone somewhere near the end of it.
Fuck, what? I can't remember what it is either. But
How
can't
did
remember
we
which-
forget the saxophone? It's because it's all very, very Bruce Springsteen. Hold on.
Yeah, because they just because
Is
like
it
whatever you
Laugh?
listen. I think it might be. I can't remember. Hang on.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, he just fucking throws the saxophone in there and smacks you up the face, you know, and you're like, oh, fuck,
It's,
all right.
what's that meme? It's like, you know, it's you after all this time. It's still you. That's kind of
Yeah.
like that's kind of like what I feel when I listen to this, and I
Yeah.
hear like the elements that I've heard in like other projects from him. It's just like, you know, at the end of the day, no matter what genre or what persona he puts on, it's always still him, and that's something I really appreciate, and that's something that like that's one of the reasons I've always wanted to hear this album.
Low key, that saxophone solo reminds me of "Red Light Spells Danger" by Billy Ocean.
It probably is that.
Final thoughts on this album. In conclusion, I'm glad
Glad
it
we
exists.
finally have it. I'm so glad. Like, thank you, Apple Juice Enjoyer.
We love you.
Whoever you
You're a
are.
sacred name in my household now. I will
You are now our
February
Jesus.
13th. Every February 13th, I will light a candle for you. That's
I will name my
apple-scented.
firstborn after you. I'm gonna be
You
Chris
know.
Martin and call my child Apple.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Gwyneth Paltrow too?
Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow
Yeah, they
named
have
her
a song
daughter
called.
Apple.
They have a kid called Moses as well, which is.
In
Just
conclusion,
enjoy You Are My Jesus. I believe in God again.
Yeah.
in
No,
conclusion, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, like in conclusion, it's really nice to finally hear this. I think it's important, because like it's the album he made before he made the biggest project of his life.
I would say
Mhm.
I feel like he needed to make this album.
Yeah, he made this
Yeah.
album and then gave up and then accidentally wrote "Stand by Him" and somebody went, "Wow, that's good." You know what I mean? Like.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's important because it's the last thing he wrote before he fully discovered the sound that was his sound. Because there's no other band that sounds like Ghost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like that's fully like Ghost, because like we've said before, Ghost is kind of
Yeah.
like it's in almost in its own genre, because it covers like so many different like themes and sounds, that like literally he can shit out anything and it would fit.
Yeah.
It would feel on brand.
And you have
Um
all those people that do YouTube videos that are like, what if Ghost wrote this? And they have to sing it the way he sounds, and they kind of have to put the spooky guitars on it and stuff. But like you can and also from his cover albums, he's proved that he can take nearly any song and
and
turn it
make
into
it
Ghost and make it.
ghostify.
Yeah, like the only song I think he kind of failed a bit with was "I Believe," but that's just me not liking that song. It's like,
I
Um,
believe I don't like that song.
I
I'm gonna be
believe I could
completely
skip that one.
honest. I'm gonna be yeah, that's one of my least favorites of his.
mm.
But there's still a lot of people who enjoy it, so
Yeah,
you know. Um I'm just really thankful that we were able to hear this. Again, like kind of like what Alana said earlier, in that like I I understand why this didn't get picked up, but at the end of the day, I'm so glad it was able to be heard,
yeah,
because um going back to of what my stance on this before was that I don't believe it's right to hide art, especially if it's not yours, behind a paywall and behind like, like just to keep it amongst like a small group of people, because that's not how art is supposed to be enjoyed. It's supposed to be enjoyed. It's supposed to be like experienced. And I don't like I don't know. I never liked the idea of like just keeping it to yourself, especially if it's not your own.
I'd say I have two things to say on that. One is slightly irrelevant, but I find it funny that he wrote a song called "Last," where he's like, "I don't want to be the last mistake you make before you change," which is very fitting given that that was the last musical mistake he probably made before
hmm
Ghost. Secondly, I think a perfect comparison into what you were just saying, Cami, is you can, um, there's pictures of, let's say, Starry Night by Van Gogh on the internet. Everyone can enjoy and look at for free, but you're never going to own the original. So
yeah.
the
Mhm.
original still has value. So I don't get why these collectors are getting pissy of it leaking, because you
Yeah,
still own
that
the original.
yeah, you still own the original. You still own like a physical copy of it. And that's something that a lot of people won't be able to say that they can do, or
Mm.
now they're able to do it, but it's not going to be the original.
No, but you can
So you
like,
still have something that is of value. I just never understood, like.
to wrap up. Um, if you've made it this far, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Tobias, if you've also made it through, how right were we? I'm joking. If you want us to
Uh,
take this down, we'll take it down. But
I love
all
you.
love,
We
all
love
love,
you so
King.
much. This album's actually really good. You should totally just release it on your own and then get some
Yeah.
money.
Get that
I will give
bank,
you that
bitch.
money.
Bro, if you release a small batch of like say like 1,000 copies of this, you could get so many pyrotechnics for your stage show. I'm telling you right now.
Bro,
Like,
think of the t-shirts you can buy and the tapes you can buy if,
yeah.
with the
Think
money.
of the zines you could buy, my guy. Like, think of the zines that only you and two other people on this planet care about.
We
That you
we
could
we
buy.
we can make your dreams happen, Forge. We will set up a GoFundMe.
Yeah. Like again, I'll pay you in stamps, seeing as you need them back. Like, I'll pay you in stamps.
Give me an official release of Passiflora, and you will receive all the money you can think of for all the shirts, all the vinyls, all the rare miscellaneous things, and the pyro. You love pyro. Just we got a deal going on.
Think of the amount of glitter you can add to Papa's robes.
Yeah,
Think
think
how
of all the
Every
glittery you could
rhinestones and
be.
for
jewels.
for every copy of Passiflora, another rhinestone gets added onto his cape.
See? You win. You win in the end. You get to be
This
glittery.
is a win-win scenario. I like no one loses except
Yeah.
unless you're a collector. Unless you're a collector of this album, no one loses.